Jai Hind everyone, my name is Mukulit Goel and I am assistant professor in Department of MCA in Akgec Engineering College, Ghaziabad, and I am teaching in MCA first year in second semester. The subject is operating system, subject code with BMC 203, and my topic for today's lecture is operating system and classification of operating system. So today I will start my slides with what is an operating system. It is basically a program that acts an intermediary between the user of a computer and computer hardware, and its goal is to execute the user's program which the user requests from the computer and solve it in a easier way and conveniently and efficiently. Some examples of operating systems are Linux, all the versions of Windows, Android, VMS and others. But in today's environment, today's operating system will found in every device. Like in mobile phones, we talk about Android. In personal computers, we talk about Windows and Linux. In mainframe computers, we also have operating system. In automobiles, we have an operating system. And even in TVs and smart TVs and toys also we have an operating system, and they operate through the operating system. Like Alexa works on an operating system. So, operating system is a program that act as in an intermediary between the user and the hardware. Basically, there is a software which is divided into two parts. One is system software and another one is application software. So, the operating system is a part of a software, and firstly user interact with the software. So, in this software part, we have an operating system. With operating system, there are two types of software: system softwares and application software. System softwares are basically the operating system, and others the software which supports or runs within that operating system. And application software are those softwares through which we execute our program. Like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office is an operating system. It has some application software. Microsoft Office is an application software, and this application software have some basic application softwares into it, which are Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint and others. So, if we want to take a printout, if any user want to take a printout of anything which he writes on the Microsoft Word, then what he do? He install a driver into an operating system of that hardware which is printer and part of the input output. So, the printer is an output device. Through keyboard, the user gives an input, takes the output in a printer from a printer with the help of operating system by installing the system softwares and the application software. So, in detail, we can say that operating system is a low-level software that supports the computer basic functions, and it helps in scheduling tasks, controlling the peripherals, make the use efficient, convenient, and also operating system also work as a resource allocator and manager. Whatever resources are connected with that system which have that operating system, so operating system provides work as a resource allocator. So, like the example I said, I want to take a printout. So, operating system is a resource allocator for me to take a printout of that text which we have written on any application software. Along with resource allocator, OS also works as the control manager. It manages and controls the execution of a program to prevent error or any improper use of computer. So, in detail, we can say that operating system is a system software that manages computer hardware, software resources, and provide common services for computer programs to execute in an efficiently manner. So, it is a diagram of OS as a resource allocator. Like we can see that each operating system consumes some memory. Each system have some input output controllers and devices attached to it. So, in input output controller, there is some storage part in which we give any command and that command is executed with the help of operating system. So while we store any information, so there is three types of information which stores, means the type of operating system, the programs through which that input output is controlled, and the data which we want to input or we want to get an output. So with the help of processor, within a processor, the computer system, we store our operating system in some memory. It consumes some memory of a hard disk. Okay. So with this, with the help of operating system, or we can say that when operating system works as a resource allocator or manager, we control the system and gets the output whatever the user requires in a convenient and efficient manner. So now I comes with the on the classification of operating system. There are 8 types of operating system, in which I start with the batch operating system. Is the first type of operating system, in which it is a type of operating system in which the user does not interact directly with the computer. There are operator who takes a similar job, make a pool, or we can say make a batch of those same type of jobs, and then it goes into execution. So this type of operating system does not interact with the computer directly. There is an operator that takes similar jobs with having the same requirements, group them into batches, and now is the responsibility of operator to sort the jobs with the similar needs and execute them. So the advantages is that it is very difficult to guess or know the time required by any job. Multiple users can share the batch system. Ideal time for batch system is less and easy to manage the large work repeatedly. But the disadvantage is that the computer operator should be well known with the batch system. It is costly, and if the job fails, then we have to wait for an unknown time, because we don't know when this job or the batch will continue start working. Means if any job of that batch fails, then the whole batch is not work in a convenient way, and the batch systems are hard to debug. Okay. Next type of operating system is multi-programming operating system. Is an extension of batch processing, where CPU is always kept busy and each process needs two type of system time, which is CPU time and input output time. CPU time means the time required in the execution of program, and input output time when it goes into a any input output device controlled through input output controller and the program executes. So in a multi-programming environment, when a process does the input output, the CPU can start the execution of other processes. Therefore, multi-programming improves the efficiency of the system, and it works on the two type of times, which is CPU time and the input output time. So like we see in a diagram that there is a secondary storage, disk drive storage, which we can say that it is a disk drive, or you can say hard disk, in which we are writing the output data. In the main memory, we have the operating system, programs, and the program which also executing in the CPU. So the program C is waiting for the CPU. So it is the multi-programming, because in the main operating system, in the main memory, the operating system works on the many program, and we are storing that many programs into the secondary disk storage. So the advantage is that throughout the system it is increased that the CPU has always had one program to execute, and the response time can be reduced. But there we need to provide an environment in which the system's sources used efficiently, but they did not provide the user interaction with the computer system. So it is the second part of operating system, which is multi-programming operating system. Now the third part is multi-processing, where we have more than one processor which execute through the single main memory, but there are different CPUs. So these type of multi-processing operating systems are used in parallel computing. So the parallel computing, if we can say, the parallel computing is achieved through multi-processing operating system or the multiprocessor system. So in multiprocessing systems, parallel computing is achieved and there is more than one processor present in the system which can execute more than one process at a time, and it will increase the throughput of the system. And when the one is the system and all these processes are done simultaneously. So when there is more than one processor present in the system can execute more than one process simultaneously, which will increase the throughput. So the advantages is increased reliability and increased throughput, and the disadvantage is that it is complex and sophisticated as it takes the multiple CPUs simultaneously working on the one memory, or we can say on the main memory. There is a memory is one, but there are multiple CPUs. Okay. So in increased reliability, we talk about advantage. There is a task is distributed among several processors. So this will increase the reliability, and as the processors are distributed among several processors, so it will also increase the throughput. Next type of operating system is the time sharing operating system. In these type of operating system, there is a distribution of time between the several programs simultaneously. So the user interact with the CPU on the basis of time. In the later units, when we talk about CPU scheduling, there is a round robin scheduling in in next coming units, in which the round robin scheduling is based on the time sharing operating system. Means ki there is a time which is allocated for one user, and whether the task of that one user is completed or not, the operating system automatically shift the access from one user to user 2 on the completion of that time. And when the time completes of the another user, it will again come back to the next user or the previous user. So in the time share operating system, computer resources are allocated in the time dependent fashion to several programs simultaneously. It will helps to provide a large number of users direct access to the main computer, and basically it is the extension of multi-programming. In time sharing, the CPU switched among multiple programs given by the different users on the scheduled basis. So on the basis of time which is scheduled, the user interact with the CPU and the operating system works accordingly. In the time sharing operating system, many users to serve simultaneously, and the time sharing operating system are very difficult and expensive to build. So the time sharing system provides effective utilization and sharing of resources, but the data transmission rates are high, and the security and integrity of the user program loaded in the memory is also compromised. So the next type of operating system is the real-time operating system. So in the real-time operating system, each job carries a certain deadline within which the job is supposed to be completed, and if then that real time the job is not completed, it will be completely useless. So the application of real-time operating system exists in the case of many things, like if we talk about washing machine, if we press a button or we want to execute an operation, then if it completes in a real time, then we got a washed cloth. But if any error or anything, if it stops in between, or it does not have the facility of starts from its previous position, from its current position, then we have to recycle it from its initial position. We need to start it from the initial position. Like the example I have stated in my slides, in the real-time execution case of military operation, if you want to drop a missile and if it in the real time it does not drop or execute, then it might be possible that it will burst in its current position only. So there are some components. So there are some components of the real-time operating system, which is the scheduler, function library, fast dispatch latency, user defined data objects and classes, memory management and symmetric multiprocessing. So in the real-time operating system, there is the multiprocess are being executed in a symmetric way. And the main part of the components of the real-time operating system is the scheduler, because through the scheduler we schedule all the tasks which is completed in that particular time duration. So the next type of operating system, or first we talk about the advantages of real-time operating system, is easy to lay out, develop and execute the applications in the real time, and the disadvantages are very costly to develop and sometimes it is very complex. Next type of operating system is the interactive operating system, which are the interactive operating systems are computers that accept human inputs. User gives commands and some data of the computer by typing or by gestures. Some examples are Microsoft Word and spreadsheets or Microsoft Office. And there is a type 2, it is divided into two parts. One is user domain and other one is machine domain. In machine domain, there is the execution of the program, and in user domains, we give the instructions, directions, and got the results. So the results are executed, displayed in the user domain, and execution is done in the machine domain in the interactive operating systems. So in interactive operating systems, they permits direct interaction with the computer to execute any program according to the requirement of the user. Advantages are usability and security, and disadvantages is tough to design. As we talk about interactive operating system, basically interactive operating systems are the Windows operating system on which we currently work. So if we talk about some of the operating system and we talk about the lines of codes, so there are many lakhs lines of code which are required to develop an interactive operating system. Might be that those line of codes will be in the lakhs and not in the lakhs, but in 25 to 30 lakhs line of code is required to build an interactive operating system. So these are tough to design, but they are very usable and very convenient for the user to interact and have some security measures and policies also. Next type of operating system is multi-user operating system, in which there is a central processing system and there are many terminals connected to it, and the multi-user operating system share processor time. So in multi-user operating system, there is an operating system that allows multiple users to access underlying hardware resources simultaneously and also work on a system on a single system that calls as master system, and this system can be accessed by the multiple users on the networks from anywhere at their convenience. Basically, multi-user operating systems are based on the concept of master-slave architecture, in which there is a one master which gives the instructions to other slaves, and on other slaves the user interact having that same one master. The advantages of multi-user operating system, that it helps in sharing of the data and information among different users. It helps in sharing the hardware resources. It helps in sharing the work with other users. But the disadvantages is that it needs the expensive hardware. There is a multiple users log on work on the same system, so it decreases the overall performance. And the security is also concerned in the multi-user operating system, and there is a risk of going the information public, because on the one system or through the one system there are many users connected to it. Next type of operating system is multi-threaded system. In this, we allows the application to divide its task into individual threads, and these individual threads executes the program. So in these multi-threads, the same process or task can be done by the multiple of threads, by the number of multiples of threads, and there is more than one thread to perform the task in multi-threading. So in an operating system, threads are divided into the user level thread and the kernel level thread. Basically, kernel is like the brain of the operating system, and all the execution have been controlled by the kernel in the operating system. Okay. So the operating system directly manages the kernel level thread, and the user level threads handled independently from the kernel level, because it is the part of the user and the user process. So in this we can see that in diagram we can see that there is a single process with single thread and there is a single process with multiple thread. The difference only is of the multiple thread and the single thread. So when we see that there are 3 threads, so the code is the same but the distribution is different. There are we need the stack counters and register for the each individual thread for execution. Drawbacks of multi-threading: that if we do not make the use of locking mechanism properly, the data access issues can arise and there may be a chances of data inconsistency and deadlock. The benefits are that the multiple threading can improve the performance and efficiency of program by utilizing the available CPU resources more effectively. Multi-threading can enable better resource utilization. Multi-threading can facilitate better code organization and modularity. The disadvantages also, one of the disadvantages is that the display issues may occur if the thread lack coordination when displaying the data. For example, if there is a process where are the 100 threads and out of 100 threads, 10 threads might be corrupted or prone to error, and so that due to those 10 threads, the process has not been executed or displayed properly. So it is a disadvantage, but yes, the advantages is the utilization of resources more effectively, efficiently, and by improving the we can improve the performance by using multi-threading operating system.